Hello everyone. Now comes the long-awaited part of today's program. The guest whom I'm going to invite on stage needs no introduction. We are very honored to have the Honorable Mrs. Carrie Lam Chan Yut Ngo, the Chief Executive of the Government of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, to join us today to deliver the closing remarks. Please welcome the Chief Executive.
Laura, members of the Financial Services Development Council, students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here today to deliver a few closing remarks after your full day to pursue a career. In my maiden policy address announced last Wednesday, I said, amongst many other things, my government will strive to do our best in youth development work in the next 5 years by addressing their concerns about education, career pursuit and home ownership, and encouraging their participation in politics as well as public policy discussion and debate. I'm glad that we, the government and many financial experts, are gathering here to address one aspect of my commitment, and that is to enlighten and inspire many eager young talents waiting to embark on your career, putting your knowledge to good use and testing your limits and strengths. I know many of you are considering a career in the financial services industry. I would say that that is a choice made in the right city and at the right time. Why is Hong Kong the right city for a career in finance? To start with, financial services is one of Hong Kong's pillar industries, a major contributor to the city's gross domestic product, accounting for nearly 18% of our GDP and 6.7% of our total employment. This is a sector that is truly international and has put Hong Kong on the world map, which means that if you do it well here, you will have plenty of opportunities in other major financial centers. Indeed, Hong Kong's status as a leading international financial center has long been recognized. In the latest Global Financial Centers Index out last month, Hong Kong was ranked third, behind only London and New York. A few statistics underline those kudos. For the past 2 years, Hong Kong's stock market ranked first globally in funds raised through initial public offerings. Our IPO total last year came in $25 billion. Hong Kong's combined fund management business amounted to $2.2 trillion in 2015, topping the league in Asia. Of the world's top 100 banks, 75 operate in Hong Kong, and you can count that as 75 potential employers. As part of China, Hong Kong has first-mover advantages open to no one else. In 2004, we were the world's first market to conduct offshore renminbi business. Today, we are the world's largest offshore renminbi business hub, handling 70% of all renminbi payment transactions and contributing to the internationalization of China's currency. The launch of the Shanghai-Hong Kong Stock Connect in 2014, the mutual recognition of funds in 2015, Shenzhen-Hong Kong Stock Connect in 2016, and Bond Connect in July this year are all of groundbreaking significance to capital market access between Hong Kong and the mainland. Powered by the twin engines of China and the world, Hong Kong is the gateway, the multilateral bridge bringing together the mainland and the rest of the world. There's another why to consider specifically. Why is this the right time? The continuing reform of the mainland's financial markets, the internationalization of the renminbi, and the gradual opening up of its capital account, together with the far-reaching Belt and Road Initiative, are attracting investors. And Hong Kong, tapping on its strength as an intermediary, is particularly well-positioned to support capital flowing into and out of the mainland. Hong Kong can provide Belt and Road countries with financial services for the investment, fundraising, asset management of infrastructure projects. We can also help expand their financing channels. Hong Kong has ensured what it takes to become an international financial hub, to play a key role in mobilizing funds for the Belt and Roads and the region's infrastructure projects. The Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Bay Area development adds another dimension to the Belt and Road Initiative and Hong Kong's prospects. The development calls for closer cooperation and deeper economic integration within the Bay Area city cluster, which embraces Hong Kong and Macau, together with 9 Guangdong cities, including Shenzhen and Guangzhou. The Bay Area promises to enhance the global competitiveness of the Pearl River Delta region, while serving as an engine of the Belt and Road. That's particularly so in financial connectivity, infrastructure development, and innovation and technology. Hong Kong and Shenzhen have already agreed to develop an innovation and technology park in the Lok Ma Chau Loop area. Close to the boundary with Shenzhen, it will drive INT for the Bay Area, creating opportunities for local tech companies to go global. The advent of financial technology has also created a new world of possibilities for the financial services sector. FinTech will enhance efficiency and change the way financial institutions operate. My government is working with industry to promote the development of FinTech here. Hong Kong and the United Kingdom recently signed a FinTech agreement to collaborate in promoting financial innovation. As Hong Kong's homegrown FinTech firms expand overseas, they will attract global players eager to use Hong Kong as a gateway into mainland and other Asian markets. In my policy address delivered last week, while I emphasized the importance of diversifying our economy by developing innovation and technology as well as creative industries, I also made it clear that the government will reinforce and enhance our financial services sector. We will actively seize the opportunities brought by the Belt and Road Initiative and the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Bay Area, so that the financial services sector can better serve our real economy. Specifically, as one of the policy initiatives put forward in my election manifesto, the Financial Leaders Forum, chaired by the Financial Secretary, has already been set up, and the members are already putting their minds together in formulating strategic and forward-looking proposals to strengthen Hong Kong's position as an international financial center. We will allocate more resources to the Financial Services Development Council to enhance its role in promoting market development and nurturing talent, like the Career Day today. We will also take the lead in arranging the issuance of a government green bond in the next financial year and promote the establishment of green bond certification schemes that meet international standards by local entities. These are just some of the many initiatives that my government are implementing or will implement, but I trust they should be sufficient in convincing you that the Hong Kong SAR government is determined to promote the development of the financial services industry, that the industry is full of promise, and that pursuing a career in it will give you plenty of opportunities to realize your potential. For those of you who are interested in such a career, I would encourage you to keep abreast of finance traditional services, from asset and wealth management to banking, corporate finance, and insurance. I would also emphasize such fast-rising areas such as fintech, green finance, and infrastructure financing. The future belongs to those flexible enough to adapt, indeed to embrace the sector's emerging trends and market developments. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Financial Services Development Council for organizing this Career Day, now its 4th year. I would also like to thank the Council for helping our youth keep abreast of the latest opportunities in the financial market through such programs as the Practitioner Speaker Series and the Council's Career website. I have no doubt that the Council will keep up its excellent work in this regard. Lastly, for the young people here today, I wish you all great success with your future career, which is important not only to you, but to Hong Kong as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Mrs. Lam's very encouraging remarks. Will Mrs. Lam please remain on stage and be seated? We are deeply honored for having her with us today. Having such a unique opportunity, may I now have all our MCs, including Christy, Angela, and I, back on the stage and have a little chit-chat. with our Chief Executive.
Hello. Thank you, Mrs. Lam, for coming. And the first question is particularly for ladies. So seeing that the financial service sector and as also the government, in terms of the senior management level, it's still a male-dominant situation. So Mrs. Lam, you as the first female chief executive of Hong Kong, could you share some advice and experience to us ladies on how to empower ourselves and unlock our potentials? Thank you.
Well, actually, Hong Kong provides a lot of opportunities for women. I don't see any sort of discrimination and so on, but perhaps women have more things to look after. For example, when you get married, when you have a family, when you have young kids, then you tend to put more attention in your family. But the way to success is actually very simple. I'm sure Laura and I share this same thing. Actually, we came from the same secondary school, so perhaps one way is to get into our secondary school. No, that's joking. Well, basically, it's to have passion in whatever you are doing and to work very hard. Yeah. Hard working doesn't mean that you are not smart enough. There are things in life that really needs hard work in order to achieve. So I know there are now many interesting things in life that will attract your interest, but if you want to pursue a career and to succeed, you really have to work hard. But not like me, 16, 70 hours a day. That's a bit crazy.
Thank you, Mrs. Lam. Seeing that the fintech has been changing the landscape of financial services industry and in view of the rapid development of other countries, so what would be the key government support to the talents, for example, like the students and the practitioners to further embrace this trend? Yeah, thank you.
One of the subjects that has attracted a lot of attention in my policy address and after the announcement of policy address is innovation and technology. In fact, innovation and technology itself is not an industry. It is really a new way of growing the economy and improving livelihood. So we have fintech, we have gerontech, and we have biotech. So the important thing is really whether you pursue a career in financial services or even in education services. I think in this day and age, every one of us needs to embrace both innovation and technology. So whether you can pick it up from school education in the university or just through chatting with a lot of people, I'm sure we have a lot of experts who are in the fintech area.
Yeah, thank you.
Virtual currencies are on the rise around the world, and Bitcoins, Ethereum, and Dash are often involved in business transactions. How prevalent do you feel these currencies will be involved in the Hong Kong business environment, and will the government advocate its use when there are some unsolved issues like the threats of being used as a means of money laundering? Any policy that you will have to tackle this problem?
I want to answer this question in a very general and broad manner. Again, in my blueprint for promoting innovation and technology in Hong Kong, I said that the time has come for us to revisit some conventional way of doing things, as well as to review some of the existing legislation, because they might have become obsolete, that could not catch up with the changing circumstances and this new economy. So one way is, as I've said, to look at the existing regime, whether it is in terms of the regulation, in terms of a development, in terms of legislation, and try to make our environment more conducive to embracing the new economy. But of course, in the course of doing that, financial stability, monetary stability is very important. Otherwise, Joseph Yan would be very upset. He has been reminding me that monetary stability is one of the top priorities, that we should be very careful while we move on to the new economy.
Okay, so as we know that Shanghai and Shenzhen have been catching up, and recently this year, so it's outperforming Hong Kong. So what do you think, besides getting more exposures to mainland China, to grab opportunities in the Belt and Road Initiative, so what could we students or graduates could do to do more to stand out?
Well, people like to compare us with mainland cities like Shanghai and Shenzhen, and also with cities like Singapore. I would say that our unique advantages lies in one country, two systems. So vis-a-vis Shanghai, we have a unique system. We have the common law jurisdiction, we have independence of judiciary, the freedoms, and so on and so on. Vis-a-vis Singapore, we have a very supportive central government, which always likes to use Hong Kong to pilot new ideas and projects, especially in terms of the opening up of the mainland economy. So for young people to equip yourself better is to understand both mainland development as well as to have a global perspective. This is where Hong Kong's strength lies. Our young people are more international in perspective, more adaptable, more flexible, more creative, and that could always be improved by broadening your horizon. So I would really suggest that young people should spend a bit time working, learning in the mainland and also overseas. The government and some of the institutions are running a lot of very exciting programs for student exchange, for internship in the mainland and in some of the countries where the government has economic and trade offices. We have been running ASEAN internship program for university students. In the mainland, we have been running, especially in Shanghai, some financial internship for our students. So I think these are very good opportunities to equip yourself.
Thank you, Mrs. Lam. Could you talk about what would be the most important thing that you would do if you were a university student now and would like to begin your career in the financial services industry?
No, I never have an interest in financial service, I'm sorry. Neither do my two sons have any interest in financial services, so I look to you people to propel Hong Kong's financial service industry. But if I were in university, if I were to pursue a career in financial services, I would do the things that I've just said. I would try to read more, to understand more about the mainland development and also overseas development, what is happening all over the world, especially in some of the major financial centers, and how other economies are doing in terms of application of innovation and technology, just to make sure that at least you are well equipped, and as I said in my speech, to keep yourself abreast of the latest development.
Thank you.
Nowadays, there are many students graduated with proficient academic qualifications. I'm sure that many students on the floor today will have a bachelor degree soon or even have the master degree in the future. So in view of the increased competition in the academic area, would you promote the master degree program studies in Hong Kong or turn to promote the more licensing qualifications in order to differentiate people of different qualities and to promote the professionalism of a subject?
What sort of master programs? Master in financial services?
Maybe this is one of the options, and
Okay.
because in European countries, most students study master after their bachelor degree.
Well, we always love to encourage our students to pursue higher education beyond the first degree, but what courses to offer are really a question for the universities, taking into account, of course, the manpower needs. The government rarely directs the universities to start a particular program unless it is very much linked to our manpower requirements like doctors, nurses, and so on. So I think the FSDC is actually in a very good position to provide feedback to the universities. If FSDC feels that in order to maintain a very competitive financial sector, we need students or we need young people to be even more well-educated, particularly in terms of specialization, then I'm sure the universities will be happy to run it. But if you ask me whether we are going to fund those programs, then I will have to think twice. I need to ask my financial services treasury because I announced last week that we are going to fund master research program for science, because I'm sure you know we have enough students enrolling in business and finance, but just not enough students studying science. And that is going to be a handicap in our promotion, innovation, technology. So we have announced a program to provide studentships to those pursuing a research program at a master level or a PhD level in science. But if there is a sufficient justification for doing it in financial services, I don't see why we could not. Because I said that investing in education is the best investment in Hong Kong's future.
The next question would be about social mobility. So recently, social mobility is a hit because local youngsters would think that it's very crucial but seems unrealistic. And they think that some seniors in their society, they are quite disconnected with them. So what would the government do to enhance the social mobility or try to minimize this discrepancy and help the youngsters to grow in the society?
Well, I do admit that in recent years there is this phenomenon of disconnectivity in society. That's why my election slogan is "We Connect." We're trying to connect with all sectors, connecting with young people. Social mobility is a very big subject that is haunting many economies, because as we move our economy to more innovation, technology, automation, and the world become more globalized, naturally the opportunities for going into the top jobs are limited. But I think Hong Kong is still very well positioned to create more quality jobs for our young people so that they will have more opportunities for upward mobility. And this brings me back to my pledge that we will invest in education, because education is the best way to equip our young people to be able to respond to the changing situation. Yeah.
There's a very good sharing from Mrs. Lam, and the advice given to her is very great. So I firmly believe that we do learn a lot in this chit-chat with Mrs. Lam. So let's give a big round of applause to Mrs. Lam.
Thank you.
On behalf of the audience, we would love to have a selfie-like group photo with the Chief Executive, Mrs. Lam.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Once again, we would like to express our most gratitude to Mrs. Laura Cha, Chairman of the FSDC, the Honorable Mrs. Carrie Lam, the Chief Executive, and all the industry professionals for spending your time with us today, despite your busy schedule. I believe we have gained a more good understanding of the financial services industry through the sharing and advice. Before you leave, please kindly help us fill in the feedback forms and return to the registration counter, or the staff collecting the forms at the exit. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again this year. Goodbye and all the best.